what I can say is that coming out of the Daily News 2000 and didn't get any easier, it's got more complex.
How is the log sorted out?
Well, obviously,
who makes a log, and is it cast in stone that that's how they'll
we're going to put out one more log, and thereafter comes the Rising Sun, the Cup Trial, the Jubilee Handicap, and maybe a couple of other races where some of the potential runners are involved. We also don't really know what's going to accept. There's a question mark hanging over Jackson. If the media is to be believed, will Thunderdance go for the Vodacom Durban July, or will she go for the Garden Province? We know that Beach Beauty has already been taken out, so a lot is going to depend also on the acceptances. To answer your first question, basically 2 representatives of Gold Circle in consultation with the handicappers, that includes myself. We consult with the handicappers. We're not necessarily bound by the handicappers. This is a race where Gold Circle holds the right to invite those that they believe ought to be invited. The Vodacom Durban July log was introduced to try and make the whole process a lot more transparent, to try and remove and give owners and trainers an idea of where they stand. Do they have to still qualify? Must they win another race, etc.? But it's not cast in stone, in the sense that obviously there are a couple of races to come following the final log, which will be produced early this week.
We live in interesting times. Let's go and have a look at the other Investec races, and we had the Investec Derby, the Investec Oaks. Let's go and have a look at those two. We're going to start with the Investec Oaks, which was run on Friday, and very interesting this was. Let's pick them up.
Horses on the inside of Madame Defarge, and the Lark is last of all. So the outsider Miss U2 will lead them round Tattenham Corner with half a mile to travel in the Investec Oaks. In second place races Say, then Gertrude Verst. In fourth, Secret Gesture. Liber Nauticus is pushed along. Banoffee tries to improve. Moth still travels well, but is just amongst horses at this stage. It's Miss U2 who leads. Secret Gesture pushing for a gap up the inside. As tight for room up there. The Lark is following that one through. Liber Nauticus down the outside. Say was pushed out. Then Moth who's making ground. Liber Nauticus and Secret Gesture are the first two to move on. The Lark coming out of the pack in pursuit of Secret Gesture. Down the outside is Moth, then Talent from the rear. It's Secret Gesture who leads the Oaks with just over a furlong to travel, and it's Talent, the stable companion, who's coming after the leader. Rafe Beckett with a 1-2, and it's the outsider Talent who moves through to lead for a shock in the Oaks. Secret Gesture and the Lark battling out second, but it's Talent, another classic for Richard Hughes, who won the Investec Oaks, and a 1-2 for Rafe Beckett as Secret Gesture is second across the line. Tied for third, the Lark and Moth, Liber Nauticus.
Great win, Rafe Beckett. They've won the Oaks already, first and second.
Very, very good win. Again, highlighting that Epsom Downs 2,400 metres, you've got to see every inch and more out. You've got to finish those races off, and the race can change its complexion quite rapidly from a furlong and a half out, but a very emphatic win.
New approach. He was going to get his chance to have a Derby Oaks double in the next one. We'll take a break and we'll be back with New Approach. Well, we're back, not with New Approach, we're back with Dawn Approach. Was the favourite for the Epsom Derby and looked like a worthy favourite, but I've never seen a horse behave as badly in a race as this.
Yeah, no, he had no chance after covering the first 300, 400 metres. You could see that this was going to be a disaster for Manning, and the horse never settled at all. And to circle them on the corner and up the hill and then down the hill, he ran out of gas very quickly, but it was always going to happen. Strangely, the next day at Turfentine, I saw a horse behave as badly. Albeit in a much less important race, Lady Calumet with Pierre Strademup. It's worth watching that as well, because it was almost watching the same sort of behaviour. But of course, as I said, the two races differ markedly in terms of their importance. Very disappointing, obviously, when you come into a race as important as the Investec Derby at Epsom, with all of those high hopes, having seen the sire produce the Oaks winner, gives you more confidence. You think there was always a stamina doubt about Dawn Approach, and none about the eventual winner, who had won over the distance in its previous start, and in fact had won its first two starts coming into the race over 10 furlongs and 12 furlongs, so there were no stamina doubts about ruler of the world. But you get a bit more confidence when you see the sire producing the Oaks winner, and it all unravels. I'm not sure why it unraveled. All kinds of excuses being offered about something at the gates and the slow pace, etc. But I think just caught everybody by surprise and very disappointing for all the connections.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrible way to watch a race run. Let's go and pick him up. You'll see him probably. We'll pick him up circling the field coming down Tattenham Corner.
Is already well to the fore and has taken over. Leading from Ocean Applause in second, flying the flag, now taking the trail in third. Galileo Rock in fourth place as the pace steadies down, and Dawn Approach is giving at this stage his rider a pretty hard time. 3 wide, pulling hard in sixth place on the outside of Masali and Okavango. Then behind these we have Ruler of the World. Chopin comes next from Libertarian, and all the time Dawn Approach, his hands being forced here, carting his way up now to be right on terms, and despite any stamina doubts, Dawn Approach is going to go to the lead in the Derby a long way from home. So Kevin Manning's taken the bold decision that the only way to settle Dawn Approach is to go to the front, and he leads the Derby field down the hill. Battle of Marengo is in second place. Galileo Rock in third place. Masali out wider with Ocean Applause. Okavango tracks flying the flag. Libertarian a little awkward down the hill as the field now prepare to turn in at Tattenham Corner. Dawn Approach with Battle of Marengo moving up, ensuring there's no steadying the pace, and the two in the market look each other in the eye with half a mile to travel. Galileo Rock, Okavango travelling well, just behind the leaders with Masali flying the flag. Libertarian trying to improve. Ruler of the World coming with a big run as well. Battle of Marengo as Dawn Approach has not got home. Galileo Rock, Okavango held in by Ruler of the World, who began his move first. It's Battle of Marengo with Ruler of the World. Okavango, Chopin for Germany. Galileo Rock's white face, but Ruler of the World leads the Derby from Battle of Marengo. Then Galileo Rock, Libertarian from a long way back, but it's Ruler of the World, Braden O'Brien and Ryan Moore who lead the Derby field up to the line, and it's Ruler of the World who won the Derby. Ruler of the World won it, a bob and a head for second. Galileo Rock, Libertarian charging down the outside.
Amazing win. Ryan Moore for the O'Brien team, Ballydoyle. And what was interesting was that Ryan Moore was going to ride for Sir Michael Stout and ended up having that scratched and jumped onto this horse, which he won the Chester Vase on.
You always need a bit of luck, and there's always a story behind the story. Unfortunately, that clip that we showed there, just from about halfway or beyond halfway, for those who never actually saw the race live, doesn't really show you where all of the damage was done with Dawn Approach fighting, coming out of the gates. The first 4 furlongs, really, as you say, it was something too difficult to explain if you haven't actually seen the footage. But he petered out very quickly and finished the distance last. But I guess he will be back. But this was a very good win for Rule of the World, who remains undefeated. So, you shouldn't be looking to make excuses or say he shouldn't have won or somebody else should have won or could have won, etc. And again, just going back to our discussion around the Daily News and the Will Avington, those 2 classic races, you saw one horse emerge as clearly superior to the balance. There might have been a mad scramble for the minor placings in both cases, but and it's easier then to define the winner. When they're all fall over the line together, it's less easy to define the ability of the winner.
Correct. Interesting pedigree this horse is. A half-brother to Duke of Marmalade, who's by Dane Hill, but you must see the dam line. Lassie Deer and Urban Sea close up in the dam line. This has got to have the best stallion pedigree I've ever seen. And they called him Ruler of the World.
Well, you were saying to me off air, they fancied him as the best of the crop and called him Ruler of the World. And I think it's great that a top horse has a very good name, and he may well go on to be, in more ways than one, the Ruler of the World. Right now he's the Ruler of the Derby. 3 out of 3. Came in to the Derby with a win over 2,400 metres under his belt, and soared out really well, having been put under pressure by Ryan Moore from early in the straight. The second horse flashed home well from far back, but Ruler of the World stuck to his task really, really well.
French Derby. We didn't get a chance to see that. Unfortunately, it wasn't on Teletrack, but Intello by Galileo won that as well. So Galileo is actually the Ruler of the World at the moment.
Sadler's Wells Dynasty, unbelievable. I didn't get to see the French Derby either. I was a bit surprised they were run on the same weekend. Generally, there's a week apart between the Investec Derby and at Epsom and the French Derby. But yeah, Galileo and Sadler's Wells, unbelievable.
The Coronation Cup also run the same day?
Yes, well, that's for older horses, obviously. Disappointing field of 5 with only 2 runners, really. This is the occasion where the horse that runs third gets credited with a Group 1 placing. I think it was beaten about 25 lengths back into third. We saw St. Nicholas Abbey defending his title, which he's won the previous 2 runnings, so a record-breaking third consecutive victory. But Dunedin, who had won the Melbourne Cup when I was in Melbourne a couple of years ago, didn't disgrace himself back in second. But couldn't make any headway on St. Nicholas Abbey over the last 2 furlongs. So it was another very good win for St. Nicholas Abbey.
Okay, couple of very quick snippets. Johnny Murtagh trained his first winner.
I couldn't believe that, because it's something that I'd raised previously with the NHA, whether or not we would allow a jockey to hold a jockey's license and a trainer's license. And they said no. But I see it's now happening in the UK. I mean, Johnny Murtagh hasn't given up his riding license. He's a rider, a top rider, and a trainer. And I'll tell you who it was that was actually looking to do that in South Africa, and he's now, of course, the head riding master at the academy, was Rhys van Wyk.
Yeah.
I made inquiries a long time ago on behalf of Rhys, because he wanted to carry on riding and also be a trainer. And I don't see why that should be unacceptable. And I was very surprised to read on the Racing Post website, because I didn't realize until he saddled his first winner over the weekend that he had actually taken out his trainer's license and that they allowed a person to hold both. And I think we should be doing exactly the same here.
Okay, now one sad bit of news. Let's finish off with Halsey Minor. Did you read about Halsey Minor? This guy sold his company for 1.8 billion. CNET was his company. He sold it for 1.8 billion 5 years ago. Okay, he just filed for bankruptcy. He sold his own company for 1.8 billion.
What's he been doing in the meantime?
He's filed for bankruptcy. It's a great article on TDN. He owes 100 million, okay, and has assets of 50 million. And amongst the creditors, okay, are Claiborne and Land's End, a whole lot of breeding operations, training operations. He has a perchance, as they say, for homes and hotels and racehorses. So he's blown 1.8 billion. Halsey Minor. He'll be back, I'm sure. He's one of those guys.
Well, I suppose it adds some sort of credence to the saying that says how to make a small fortune in racing. Yeah. Start with a massive one.
Exactly.
Also, sad news. It was very sad to see Top Seller involved in a tragic accident at Champ de Mars. He died, unfortunately, on the track after getting loose with blinkers and injuring himself so badly that he had to be, unfortunately, euthanized. Tales of Bravery won that race in his absence. Both, of course, came off the Roy Eckstein dispersal sale, and top horses that were exported to Mauritius, because, as you know, they're investing a lot of money in better horses from South Africa. So that was very tragic, and you know, the connections have supported the South African horses extremely well, and our sympathies are with them.
Right, well, with that sad note, we're going to move on. Halsey Manor and Top Seller goes quite well. But let's go and have a look at what we got in Your Call. We've got a very short Your Call. We're going to look at the Golden Horse Casino Rising Sun and the Rising Sun Raceday, the Golden Horse Day and the Rising Sun. But we're going to take a break first.